preparation. I thought that I had, experienced the for the first experience, the first breakdown I had was around poor preparation. So I thought that, okay, you know what, that was hard, but now I learned from it, and I'm going to prepare for things. I'm going to be more thorough in my preparation for everything. So you would think that, it wouldn't take another breakdown for me to still feel like, oh, okay, so I clearly am still not preparing for things properly. So I had to experience this all over again, where an even worse breakdown, where it affected even more people, and sorry, I'm kind of losing my train of thought. So I had to learn this lesson again in an even harder way, where I clearly didn't prepare for things enough. I still don't know what happened. I don't know about my alarm. Don't know if I slept through it. I must have slept through it just because I'm so sleep deprived. So that's still 100% my fault, full responsibility. And so but the positives that I'm seeing out of this situation is it really gave our whole team, a chance for growth and learning for all of us, and able to, everybody was able to step up, and when one team member falls down, aka me, was falling down, the leaders were able to step up and figure out what are we going to do to support her, and to figure out what we're going to do as a team to make sure, it's a very team oriented thing. And then it gave the other girl, Julie, the chance to step up and say, I will make the artwork. And, everybody was able to step up in a way that supported me and the team in still being successful and still committing to our word. So what everybody saw it was, everybody was able to see it as a positive thing, including the leader of the of the course. And of course, I was still, I was the one that really felt the worst about it, of course, but I was able to still move on and still take this as a learning process. So it was things like this where I had to really fall on my face in order to learn the lessons and learn things about myself. And I think this is what it required. I think this is what needed to happen in order for me to step out of my high horse and my ego and my self-righteousness of, I don't need this course, I'm perfect, I'm doing all of this personal development, this is nothing new to me. So I was, as much as I didn't want to be like that, that's still how I was being the whole time, up until I fell on my face like this on day 1 and day 4. That really was what it took for me to just get shaken out of my ego completely. And so I do see it as a positive. I see it as that's what I needed to do, or that's what needed to happen for me to step into more of a humble place, and and to learn the hard truths about myself, that I'm not preparing for things well enough. And so, how I said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Well, I've noticed that I don't prepare for things very well in my everyday life. So at home, or not at home, well, yeah, at home, everywhere. But another example is when I missed my flight, which I did a whole podcast episode on this, which was a very profound experience, which was an amazing learning experience for me, and actually turned out to be just a really cool thing that, I don't know, happened. But in the moment, it was traumatizing. It was horrible. And it was me failing to prepare for my flight, totally. And I thought that I would have learned the lesson from that, but clearly not. Clearly it's taking more and more of these hard lessons of me. And I also missed a boat on my way over here, which caused me to be stuck in a sketchy town for a few days. So, these lessons are being thrown at me, and I think that I learned them, but I don't actually take them and apply them too much or enough in my life, where so yeah, basically I needed to fall on my face again and again and again, and the consequences are getting harder and harder and worse and worse, and it's the universe is saying, okay, are you gonna listen this time? No? Okay, well then I'm throwing another thing at you. Let's see if you take the lesson, and once you do, then you're gonna have a much easier time in life. So I'm very thankful for these things that happened to me. As hard as they were in the moment, I am seeing the blessings that come out of it. And so And what my brother said on the phone was, I told him about these breakdowns and how I've been falling on my face in front of everybody, and it's been really hard, and, obviously like shaking my ego and up and stuff, and he responded, because like I said, he did the course. He said, he's like, that's good, because it's the place to fall on your face in a safe space. And I wrote it down in my book. I'm like, okay, that's an awesome quote. Like, my team's going to love this. I fell on my face in a safe space. If I'm going to fall on my face anywhere, that was the place to do it, because I've never had more support in my life. Like, never felt so loved, so supported, so encouraged by everybody. Like, that was the place to do it. And that was the best place that I could have learned these lessons. And so now, what am I going to talk about now? Okay, so that was only the first. Okay, so I'm just going to say I had 2 major kind of breakthroughs from this course. That was number 1, and that was a long story, so thank you for bearing with me. But that was kind of the breakthrough number 1, where I got to learn these lessons and break out of my ego. So the second breakthrough is actually the more significant one for me, that I'm like way more excited about, because I didn't have to learn such a hard lesson from it. I didn't have to fall on my face to learn this lesson. It was just something I learned through a really, really, really powerful exercise that I definitely can't tell you what the exercise was. Just because, like, if anybody is to do the course, which I hope that everybody does the course, but if I tell you the exercise, it's going to ruin it for you in your experience. That's why I can't tell you anything that really happens, but I'm just telling you my experience. What I learned through this exercise is the most powerful thing that I've gotten from the course. Like, if I had to pick one thing, this was the most. And this one I am so excited about, because I'm already applying it in my life with everybody that I come in contact with everything that I do now. I am doing it from this context of what I learned from this exercise. So I'll tell you about what I learned about myself, because like I said, everybody learns something different through the one exercise. Everybody experiences it differently and learns something about themselves that's completely unique to themselves and how they live their life. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Like, how is this showing up in your life? That's the point of the whole course. So it's really powerful stuff. So here's what I learned about myself in this exercise. I learned that I am playing it small. Or no, okay, let me rephrase that. I am playing it average. I am playing it so average in, not necessarily in life, but in my connections with people. And, connections with people in a way is life. So yeah, in my life, I'm playing it average. I've spent so much time feeling like I'm so advanced, I'm so, look at me, I'm traveling the world, I'm living my dreams, I'm only 23, like, because this is something I hear from people so often. And so it's, like I said, it's gone to my head, it's gone to my ego. I feel like I've just had such an ego boost from everybody, everybody telling me, you're so wise for your age, like you're doing so much at your age. And also comparing myself to people who maybe are not like living their purposes and who are doing less with their lives from my perspective. Like, when I compare myself to other people who are maybe doing like not so much, that also boosts my ego. So where was I going with this? So through this, I thought that I was so anyway, I had such a high, like an arrogant view of myself. I thought that I just had, so much going for myself, which I do, but like, I didn't see this one area of my life where I'm actually totally average. I am not going above and beyond in this area of my life anymore. I wasn't. Now I've committed to obviously going above and beyond in this area, but before I was not. I was playing it average in my connections with other people. I was not winning friends and influencing people the way I thought that I was. I thought that I was totally doing this. I thought that that's who I was. But I actually was completely average in this. And through this exercise, I was able to realize that I have so much more to grow in this area. Like, I'm totally average. So there are certain people in the course who are just natural born leaders, or maybe not naturally born, but who are leaders. However they came about doing this, maybe they, through their life experience, through whatever it is. But there's a few people specifically in our course who are just they are leaders, and I strive to be like that level of leadership, because that's the kind of career I want to go into. That's the kind of person I want to be. Is I want to be a leader. And I've not been a leader in this course. Now, I have not been one of the people who doesn't say anything. I definitely am not afraid to talk, and I'm happy to step into leadership roles. Like, I actually really want to, but I'm definitely not one of the people who is at the top of the leadership, if you were to scale it out between the people. So I'm just right in the middle, right? I've made some beautiful connections with people in the group, but more so with just the people who are in my breakout or in my power group. And I've made beautiful connections that way, but not with everybody in the whole course. And there are certain people who have reached out and have actually made an effort to connect with everybody in the course. And that's just the kind of person that they are. And I've learned a lot from those few people, and I want to be like them. I really look up to them. And through this exercise, they were able to see how being those kind of leaders is going to impact their life, and how it is impacting their life, and how it shows up in their life. And then for the people who, kind of are completely withdrawn and are not connecting with other people, like they were able to see that, how that shows up in their life. And for me, I was one of the average people, and this was really shocking to me. Like, I did not know that. I didn't know I was average. I thought that I was just like a kick-ass above and beyond person. Like, I did not think that I was average. Average is never a term I would use to describe myself. So this was like a huge moment for me. And I'm so excited. I was immediately so excited to learn this about myself. It wasn't like I felt like, oh, this is hard on my ego. Like, no, I was like, awesome. Like, this is somewhere where I can grow. Excuse me, I'm drinking water. So, yeah, no more playing at average. Like, this is a much shorter story. So, since I can't tell you how I came to this conclusion, I'm just going to tell you the conclusion. It's no more playing at average. I'm going above and beyond for people from now on. I am going to, go above and beyond, do whatever it takes to win friends and influence people to a level that I have never done before. My mom is somebody who does this a lot. She wins friends and influences people, and yes, she read the book, of course, and she really not only read the book like 20, 30 years ago, whenever she read it, but she applied the book, and she really lives the book, and she wins friends and influences people to a level that I strive to be like, and I'm not at that level yet at all, and definitely not yet, but I am on my way there, because now that I'm aware of this, and I can give you a few examples of how I was before and how I am now, because I've already made the shift, and of course I'm still on my way I'm still not exactly where I want to be around this, but I'll tell you where I was before. I was playing at average in the way of I would not talk to, I don't like make conversations with strangers. Now, I am obviously a Canadian, so I'm still quite polite. I say hello to everybody, and I say thank you for everything, and I will not leave a room without saying goodbye to everyone. So, but that's like the minimum around being polite. Like I'm very polite when it comes to like my actions, or I'll always do the dishes, I'll always make sure to all of this kind of thing. But for me, that's the minimum. Now, a lot of people don't even do the minimum, which is another story. But for me, like, that was just because I was raised with a strict dad. Thank God for that. But I'm not going above and beyond by doing those things. I'm just doing the minimum for what I think is the minimum of just being polite and just doing what I think is required of myself as a decent human being. But that's average. That's so average. What I want to start doing is when I see somebody at the coffee shop or whatever in the line, spark up a conversation with them, tell them how much I love their outfit, or ask them a question, or just say something that'll brighten their day, pay for their coffee. Generosity is another thing that is incorporated into my new goals for myself and is part of my vision. And things like this, like that's going above and beyond for people. And another example, when I was at the last place that I was staying in Mindoro in the Philippines, I I did not learn everybody's name. And I was there for 3 weeks. I